Breaking tonight, Donald Trump declares a trade war on Canada as sweeping tariffs take effect.
Tariffs, they're all set.
Canada's plan to hit back.
This is an existential threat to us.
Mr. Adrian, Justin Trudeau will address Canadians about this serious economic threat.
Musk knows that Pierre POV is his guy in Canada, taking the biggest hit, down 6%. That's not the only potential threatening Trump. The outgoing Canadian Prime Minister is warning President Trump of a new chapter of trade tensions unfolding between Canada and the United States. This time, the spotlight is on Elon Musk's electric vehicle, EV, giant, Tesla. Amid already fragile economic relations, Canada is now setting its sights on imposing new measures that could significantly impact Tesla's operations and sales in the country. While the U.S. auto industry continues to experience the aftershocks of former President Donald Trump's protectionist trade policies, Canadian lawmakers are ramping up efforts to defend their domestic market. These efforts include proposals to heavily tax Tesla vehicles and increase incentives for Canadian-made EVs. The stakes are high, as such actions could have widespread repercussions not only for Tesla but for the broader automotive industry, particularly the electric vehicle market, which is already navigating turbulent times. In this detailed analysis, we dive into the escalating trade dispute between Canada and the United States, explore the political and economic motivations behind Canada's moves, and consider the potential consequences for Tesla and other American automakers operating north of the border. The current tensions trace back to trade policies implemented during Donald Trump's presidency, which saw the United States introduce tariffs on a range of imports from key partners, including Canada, Mexico, and China. These tariffs, aimed at protecting American industries, had the unintended effect of disrupting deeply integrated North American supply chains. The automotive sector, in particular, felt the brunt of these measures, as vehicle components often cross borders multiple times during the manufacturing process. For Canada, Trump's tariffs were viewed as an attack on free trade principles and long-standing economic partnerships. As a result, Canadian politicians have been searching for ways to counter these measures. Now, the latest idea gaining momentum involves imposing a targeted tariff on Tesla vehicles imported into Canada, alongside offering generous financial incentives of up to $110,000 or more for electric vehicles produced on Canadian soil. This policy shift is seen as an attempt to level the playing field for Canadian manufacturers while retaliating against American trade aggressions. Tesla, as one of the most prominent American EV brands, has inadvertently become a symbol of U.S. dominance in the green tech industry. For Canadian lawmakers, especially the left-leaning New Democratic Party, NDP, penalizing Tesla represents a bold message to both Washington and Canadian consumers. Canada is prepared to protect its domestic industry and push back against American economic pressures. The NDP has been particularly vocal in advocating for tariffs on Tesla, proposing not just additional taxes on the vehicles but also the removal of Tesla from government rebate programs. In fact, Toronto has already excluded Tesla from its EV grant scheme, signaling a growing political consensus. NDP members argue that Canadian taxpayer money should support local jobs and technologies rather than enrich foreign corporations. By incentivizing Canadian-made EVs with substantial rebates while simultaneously penalizing American imports, the government hopes to encourage consumers to prioritize homegrown alternatives. For Tesla, these developments present significant challenges. Higher tariffs would inevitably raise the cost of its vehicles in Canada, making them less competitive against domestic alternatives. While Tesla is often associated with premium vehicles like the Model S and Model X, its more affordable models such as the Model 3 and Model Y are popular among middle-class buyers who may be more price-sensitive. For these customers, Even a modest price increase caused by tariffs could push them toward more affordable Canadian-made options or rival brands like General Motors, GM, which already produces some vehicles within Canada. Industry analysts warn that such shifts in consumer behavior could lead to a substantial decline in Tesla's Canadian sales. To counter this, Tesla might be forced to implement price cuts, offer special promotions, or absorb some of the tariff costs, strategies that would eat into the company's profitability. With rising production expenses globally, any additional financial strain could further complicate Tesla's efforts to maintain its leadership in the EV sector. One potential solution to sidestep Canadian tariffs would be for Tesla to establish manufacturing facilities within Canada itself. Similar to how Tesla expanded into China with its Shanghai Gigafactory to better serve Asian markets and reduce the impact of tariffs, setting up a Canadian Gigafactory could allow the company to qualify as a domestic producer. This would give Tesla access to Canadian incentives and restore its price competitiveness. There have been quiet speculations in the industry about such a move, particularly as Tesla explores broader expansion strategies in North America. However, the decision is complex. Beyond the financial investment required to build a new facility, Tesla must also weigh the implications for its brand identity. Would building cars in Canada dilute Tesla's image as a proudly American innovator, or would the economic advantages outweigh national branding considerations? Beyond the economic dimensions, the tension is also deeply political, and at times personal. Public opposition to Tesla and Elon Musk himself appears to be gaining traction in Canada. Thousands of Canadians have reportedly signed a petition demanding the revocation of Musk's Canadian citizenship, pointing to his perceived ties with the Trump administration and U.S. corporate interests. Although Musk was born in South Africa, he holds Canadian citizenship through his mother and spent time living in Canada before moving to the United States. While such petitions may not have any direct legal consequences, they reflect a growing sentiment among certain Canadian groups that see Musk and Tesla as symbols of American economic dominance. For these critics, imposing tariffs on Tesla is not just about protecting Canadian jobs, it's about standing up to perceived exploitation by a powerful neighbor. Tesla is not the only U.S. automaker at risk. Other American brands, including Ford and GM, could also face declining market share in Canada if the government shifts incentives heavily toward domestically produced vehicles. Additionally, Canadian consumers, already feeling the pressure of inflation and economic uncertainty, may ultimately bear the brunt of higher prices caused by trade barriers, leading to reduced spending and a slowing automotive market overall. Some experts fear that escalating tensions between the US and Canada could trigger a broader trade conflict reminiscent of the tit-for-tat tariff seen during Trump's presidency. If Canada imposes harsh measures on American EVs, what's to stop the US from retaliating against Canadian goods? Such a spiral could jeopardize the economic stability of the entire North American market, undermining the goals of trade agreements like the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA. With so many moving parts, the Canadian government's next steps, the NDP's influence, Tesla's possible production shifts, and the evolving U.S. tariff landscape, the future of Tesla in Canada is anything but certain. If tariffs and incentive shifts become law, Canadian consumers looking to buy a Tesla could soon face price hikes ranging from $55,000 to over $100,000 depending on the model and tax structure. Such costs would make Tesla vehicles unaffordable for many and would open the door for Canadian manufacturers and startups to capture greater market share. Ultimately, this growing trade dispute is about much more than just cars. It reflects deeper questions about national sovereignty, fair competition, and the balance between economic cooperation and self-protection. Whether Canada's gamble to target Tesla will pay off or backfire remains to be seen. What do you think? Is Canada right to impose tariffs on Tesla and prioritize its domestic EV industry? Should Tesla consider building a factory in Canada to sidestep these economic roadblocks? And how might these tensions shape the future of North American trade? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your comments below and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated on this unfolding news on trade policies and wars.